you not make that the thing that is your thing? That sounds
exactly.
That's beautiful.
That's a good one to have. Yeah, those TV roles were when he was in school or just first out of school in London, and landed a couple of small parts while he was doing theater in London, and actually was married to someone else, the first wife. That didn't work out. He left London, came back to the States, met my mom, but never did any more TV acting after that. Just the TV writing.
Have you seen those? I'm guessing they don't even exist anymore.
I've not. Yeah, I've never seen those. He said he was always, for whatever reason, he was always cast as a thug, henchman number one or something.
I interviewed a kid for another podcast I do about the TV show News Radio, and on that he played a punk. And then as I'm talking to him, I'm going through his IMDb. I'm like, you played basically the 90s punk that everybody hated in every show. And he's like, yeah, that was my thing. That's how I made a living. As a teen, it's so funny how typecast you can be at any given time. That's so funny.
You really can. Well, the funny thing is, you say that, the reason that after years and years of trying to make it to Broadway, the reason he finally made it to Broadway and was cast in that country version of Cheers is because he had Cletus Maggard in his background.
Right.
So he goes into that audition, and he's got what they need from an acting standpoint, and he's got the acting chops, and he's got the stage singing chops, but he's got this other little twist, this wrinkle on his resume, and that was typecasting at some level too.
Yeah. Man, real quick, I will point out that also on eBay, if somebody wants to spend $20 on it, and I'm tempted, they have the unabridged dictionary of CB radio lingo that looks like it was given away with CBs, possibly. It's compliments of Gemtronics. This is phenomenal.
Isn't that funny? Gemtronics are the guys who hated the jingle and rejected it and didn't buy it as a commercial and ended up being one of his primary sponsors for things like that. Yeah, that is... Okay, so if you listen to the CB Lingo Dictionary track on the record, and what you're referring to is an expanded version with more terms and his kind of funny little definitions of them. That was actually pretty cool. We had stacks of those around the house, actually, in rubber bands. They couldn't quite give them all away, but that's a pretty cool little item. I don't know if it's worth $20, but...
This person seems to think it is. I love it. It's so weird to me that would sell for more than his album. I mean, I could, it's insane to me. It's
weird to me that people still have these things. You can get the albums on Amazon. You can get them on eBay. And I'll bet if you looked hard enough, you could find one of those T-shirts or something.
For sure, I bet you could.
I don't know why people held on to this stuff, but they did.
You know what's so funny too is I'm looking at this and I'm wondering. I'm going to have to check later and see if Mercury ever tried. Do you know if they ever tried to re-release these? Because I feel like I don't know if anybody's ever done this for truckers, done like, hey, let's do a retro re-release of some stuff that was a hit 40 years ago. I'm wondering.
I know there are several compilations, greatest CB hits of the 70s.
Oh, okay, sure.
And he pops up on some of those. And there's a couple, Jason, that I have heard that are knockoffs. It's not him.
Wow.
It's not the original recording.
Wow.
But... there's that. I don't think Mercury ever re-released the albums, and they're not available on MP3. You can't go on iTunes and get them. I look occasionally just to see if they're on there, and they're not. So,
man, that's nuts.
The song still plays though every once in a while, because to this day I get a check from BMI at the end of the year for about $6.82. From the occasional airplay of the White Knight.
Holy crap! Now I want to know where that's playing. I want to know what stations are like. You know what? I remember this thing from the '70s. Let's pop this on. I really want to know who's playing that. That's so funny.
Every now and again on XM Channel 7, the '70s channel, they'll do a CB weekend. They'll do something like that. I think that's probably when it plays.
That makes sense. Oh my! There were enough CB songs. See, now this is like I keep thinking I've gone down the rabbit hole far enough, but clearly I have not. It's
a never-ending rabbit hole.
I have a record that is all like the serious version of what your dad did. Like it is literally trying to teach you not only CB lingo but CB etiquette. It is this lengthy thing, and you can buy a companion booklet to it. So there's just so much stuff. Which is funny, too, that it's on these bulky LPs where it's like these truckers live in their trucks. Like, I don't know why anybody's buying vinyl, but
Right? I used to think the same thing when I was little. When do they listen to records? And my dad would tell me they have to drive 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
So,
it's insane. I guess
you're right, though. There were a lot of CB songs, and you asked me that question earlier about could I brag on my dad, and were people impressed? And people were impressed he had a record, and they were impressed that it went to number one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell people sometimes, this was the number 2 selling CB song of all time after Convoy, and people look at me like, well, right, there were probably only 2, right? Or maybe 3. And it's not true. That's like anything else. You jump on the bandwagon.
Yep.
If it's making money, the record company was going to be all over it.
Mm-hmm. And
between 75 and 77, there were at least 20, I'm sure, maybe more CB themed songs out there on country radio.
Of course. I found one. I got on a kick of these a couple years ago, and I found one called CB Heaven, which is very weird and kind of almost maudlin, but at the same time, like, just it's real good music, like as far as country goes. But it's very funny, like just the kind of they would just shoehorn. There are several CB Christmas songs, several like Santa's, to the point where again 2 years ago I made my own. For no reason, because who's going to listen to a CB Christmas song now? But I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with it. Yeah,
I will listen to your song.
I will send it to you.
I want to hear a CB Christmas song.
I will send it to you. It is the slowest. Like I kept thinking, oh, this is going to be a fast, fun country song. I'm like, oh wait, I'm just a singer. I'm not much of a musician. But it's there and it's very silly and it's fun, and I will absolutely send that to you.
He wasn't just lampooning kind of CB culture. He was lampooning some of those serious songs too.
Yeah.
You have songs like Mercy Day. And what's that one called? Who we got on that end? You're the only friend I got. They're the maudlin is a good word for it. Except they're total parodies. And the funny thing about the second album, making an attempt at some serious songs, he had a lot of fans of his first album who thought those were serious songs. They didn't get the parody aspect to them, and it's because there were so many songs like that.
Sure.
I don't remember CB Heaven, but I remember Teddy Bear. And just these pulling at the heartstrings kind of songs, and that's what he was really satirizing with a couple of the tracks on that first album.
What's interesting too is I feel like I could and I want to at some point do just a real deep dig on whenever there's a new technology, how that enters popular culture and specifically like recorded media. Because I mean, you go back, years ago, but I mean, Britney Spears had a song called "Email Me Your Love." Or email your love, something like that. So I mean, this is this is the thing. Let us make sure this is inserted into a song. Let's capitalize. And I mean, not that was her big hit, but it was there.
But it was there, and it's like the Tom Hanks movie, You've Got Mail.
Yep.
It's just, this is a new thing, email. And, the funny thing is the record execs and the studio execs are thinking, hey, this is probably a fad that's going to be gone in 2 years, so we better capitalize on it now.
Of course they are. It's nuts. And this is making me want to dig deeper on it. But my favorite part of this episode is just discovering what I hoped I would, which is not only, of course, there's a complex human being behind this silly album, but like that he had just, I think, the opposite career that anybody would assume based on the album, based on the stuff they might know him for. And people are complicated. And I don't know. To me, that was worth digging into. And I love that I discovered all of this as a result of a weird CB album.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad it's still out there. And it's funny because he did connect to it, and with this podcast is Comedy on Vinyl, and we've talked about comedy albums, and obviously these were comedy songs, but I think he thought of it as a music album, not a comedy album, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was a hit, quote-unquote, song. For the comedy, in my opinion, it wasn't anything to do with the melody or the virtuosity of the music, for sure, but still, in his mind, he was recording songs. He would never have thought to compare this to something like a George Carlin album,
right,
or a Lenny Bruce album, or something like that.
Right. Well, and it's interesting too because you don't always find people who, with the exception of maybe Stan Freberg, there aren't a lot of people who, when they approach parody music, at least anymore, I guess the best example set by Weird Al. He's a guy who loves and respects all the different music. You don't always find somebody who's like, I don't really like this music. I'm just gonna fuck with it. Like, I'm just gonna totally make fun of it, but succeeds. Like, because otherwise, this could be a cynical album. But I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to it. Like I said, there's, it's dated only because it's about CB. The rest of it is like, I bet there's some people who could listen to this and still dig it. I'm certain.
I think there are some things that hold up. I agree with you. I listened to it not long ago. There are some things that don't hold up because a couple of songs are so CB intensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some things that make me laugh today. Like I'm hearing them for the first time.
Yeah. I enjoy it. I think people, again, I got it. What did I do? I probably think I got it for $1. You can pick this up just about anywhere for about $1. And that, again, we've discussed this. It doesn't necessarily say anything about the quality, but now I also am going to, I mean, you've convinced me. Now I'm going to have to pick up his second album, or I'll take you up on your offer to send it to me, because why not? Why not have a fresh copy? You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I love getting those. Every once in a while I get a fresh one from somebody who made the album or has had it sitting around, and it's something special about this one that was only given to the artist. It's got this different energy to it. That is the weirdest way to talk about that, but that's how it feels to me because I'm a nerd.
Yeah, the ones that we have, and I only have one copy of each album, but we used to have stacks, and I don't know what happened to the stacks over the years. Mm-hmm. But somehow a stack of 20 became a stack of 10 and became a stack of 3, and somehow I have one copy of each. And that's where we are today.
Well, I always ask people, you're not in entertainment, but I want to know if you want to promote anything anyway.
No, not in entertainment. I'm in the always funny business of being an attorney, really humorous. And so, no, I don't have anything that I need to promote. I've got a creative side, like people that I tend to do things for friends and family, and not that interested in the fame aspect of it. But
sure. Are you a musician by any chance? I'm curious now.
Not at all.
No?
I love music. I adore music, and I have no musical talent. I can't sing. I can't play. All I can do is listen and sit around and talk about music, but nobody wants to hear me do that. So I wish I had a musical talent, but I do not.
I have one final question, and that is, would you be at all averse to sending me a picture of that painting of your father? I would really love to see it.
Not at all. Not at all. I'll do it as soon as we conclude here.
That'd be great, because maybe I could put it on the blog. I think people would like to see it. I think it'd be a fun juxtaposition to the back of that album. Honestly.
I was just thinking the same. I was thinking the same thing, and yeah, it would actually. Looking at the pose in the painting and the pose on the back of the album, you should definitely put those side by side.
I love it. I love it. Well, Rand, thank you so much for doing this. I want to thank everybody for listening. Check out these albums; they're fun, and in general, check out CB culture, because it's a weird part of history that people kind of don't think about much anymore. But that's about it. Thank you guys for listening, and as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on Facebook.com/ComedyOnVinyl, Twitter @ComedyOnVinyl, and find everything else at ComedyOnVinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit StandUpRecords.com for all your comedy needs, and tune into the new Stand Up channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast.